Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a thoroughbred underdog, and welcome to another episode of In Wrestling Life, IWL in Wrestling Life. And this week we're going to talk about heel tactics, the various means in which a heel in wrestling, aka the villain, uses to obtain the victory in the matchup in wrestling. Now, some of the greatest heels in wrestling have resorted to some tactics and some mischievous behavior and forms of offense to win championships, just to sometimes win a match that's really meaningless against somebody lower on the card. But it's all about winning for a lot of heels. Some heels, it's we'll use what we do and could care less about what the result is. You know, you've seen matches where a heel might hit somebody with a chair, could care less about if this person, if they won the match or not. They just want to hurt their opponent. So it's all about purpose. It's all about what the end result is, and if you make these heel tactics worth it. And some of the best wrestlers in history have run numerous championships using methodologies and weaponry and other tactics that might be frowned upon. And today's day and age, the heels, actually, I want to say since probably the early 90s, one of the most earliest instances of a heel being cheered was Jake the Snake Roberts. And even earlier than that, I'll say Jake the Snake when he had it's lost media at this rate, when he had Hulk Hogan on the snake pit and he DDT Hogan and got cheered for it. He blindsided Hogan and gave him a DDT. Now, it wasn't a match, but it's one of the early instances where instead of it being frowned upon, a dirty action, it was cheered. And that's one of the most sought after lost media in wrestling because everyone wants to see it because it was so early and unheard of back then. But even back before that, Ronnie Garvin was one of the champions. I think they tried to have Ronnie Garvin replace Magnum TA to beat Ric Flair for the NWA Championship, and people actually cheered Ric Flair over him. So I say all that to say this. How does it relate to life? How do we wrestle life with heel tactics? Well, the reality of it is we've all heard the phrase in life, desperate times call for desperate measures. And a lot of times we find ourselves in our regular 9-to-5 jobs or at-home jobs, what have you, having to do things that we may not want to do to get by. Now, the problem is when desperate times call for desperate measures, when we're doing it all the time, it's no longer a desperate time. You ever heard the phrase where if everybody's cheating or if everybody's doing this, nobody's doing this? For example, if you're taking a test and you're cheating, you got little notes in the corner of the paper, and the teacher can't tell because it's white, but you have a little white sheet of paper here with all the answers on it. Well, you're cheating. You have an advantage, and that's why you get the highest grade over some who are just using the little bit of know-how to pass it. You might win. You might get an A over everyone else. But if everybody's using an open book test, it's not cheating at that rate. If everybody's allowed to do it, if everybody's cheating, nobody's cheating because everybody's doing it. Best case would be, just talking about wrestling here, if everyone's taking steroids back in the day, as we all know everybody was using a juice, then nobody's using the juice, which is why it wasn't such a big deal until the steroid trial happened with Vince and everything. So when you're using these methodologies and stuff like that, you're doing it to gain an edge. And in life, a lot of times we might have to do things that we may not like to do to gain an advantage. We might lie. We might cheat on a test, like I said. We might, the most commonly is how many of us have lied on our job applications? Fake it till we make it. A heel tactic. You're pulling on a fraud or lying about skills you don't have that you're going to learn as you go, unbeknownst to the employer, just to get in, just to get by, just to get your foot in the door. And then you will be like, okay, I'll revisit these skills later when I actually get it. You get in the door. Now, the problem is with wrestling and cheating tactics is that you are what you repeatedly do. You become what you repeatedly do. So if you're constantly cheating and using methods like in wrestling, if you constantly use low blows in matches, now it's like, okay, I remember Adrian Neville, aka Pac the Bastard, back when he was going against Sami Zayn. He was the NXT champion, and then there was the Fatal 4-Way match, and Pac was doing whatever it took to win. And it's like, this is uncharacteristic of, well, Adrian Neville, to be using like roll-ups and pulling tights and low blows and stuff to win a match. And he got booed for a little bit for it. But then when him and Sami Zayn had their match and Sami Zayn beat him, he went back to being a babyface. And it's just like, okay, well, he used desperate measures. He had to do what it took to win. But he didn't become a full heel. He was just doing what it took to win. And that's what it's about in life. Do we do things, if we are repeatedly doing these actions, using these heel tactics, these methods that are not really appropriate, then we become the heel. It goes from this is just an action I'm having to do in this particular instance just to get by real quick. If we repeatedly do it, now we're just a lawbreaker. We're wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to think of examples. I'm trying to cite examples here that people may have done in real life. Perfect example, at McDonald's, right? You see. Secret here. There have been times where the pop machines didn't work. Okay, well, you might have to go get a couple of bottles of pop and, unbeknownst to the customer, pour the pop from an actual bottle that we might have bought at a nearby Walmart. Now, if you were to do that when you have those machines, then it's like, okay, now you're cheating because you're using something that's clearly more flavored and whatnot. But that's kind of, I don't know if that's the best example, because sometimes a lot of people say, well, the ones that come from the dispensaries at the restaurant taste better than stuff in the bottle. And I do think there's a differing formula between the two. I really should have thought about some good examples here. Maybe you guys in the comments can think of a few where it's like, okay, the best example I can think of is lying and faking it till make it, but something you may have had to do at work that might not be, okay, well, I could say I work at Walmart. I've had to, it's not exactly, kosher to open up things before you buy it, right? If we were to see a customer doing it, we would question them, we'd say, dude, why are you doing that? So then you might have somebody like myself say, hey, I'm gonna do this. Now, I'm gonna open this for you to let you see how this works or what it looks like, or if it's the proper size for you. Upper management doesn't like that, but it's a desperate time, desperate measure type thing. You're going out of your way. You're giving the customer the caveat and letting them know this isn't something you're normally going to do. This isn't something that you should expect. This is a bonus. It's not something that happens all the time, but it's me going above and beyond for you. But it's not a good method. So the point is that you repeatedly do. So if you use heel tactics repeatedly, then you are the heel. You are the bad guy. You are becoming a bad guy. You should only break the glass with the hatchet in it at times when it's extremely necessary. If you can, lie sparingly. Treat yourself as though you have a finite amount of these to use, and it kind of gives the value of when you use them. You don't want to lie all the time, because then you will become a liar. Nobody will trust you. Nobody will believe in you. Your words hold no weight. So your words have no meaning. So you're going to lie, which is something that is a heel thing to do, a devilish, devious thing to do. Treat yourself like you have only a finite amount of them to use, and then you'll only lie when you really have to. in certain situations. Same thing with like a heel in wrestling. Don't do it all the time. Don't cheat all the time. Don't hit people with low blows all the time and put your feet on the ropes while you're pinning all the time. Try to use your heel tactics sparingly. Try to go to the well sparingly. Desperate times call for desperate measures at desperate times. That's what it's all about. And that's what heel tactics are in wrestling. You don't want to repeatedly do things unless, because you'll become the bad guy. And, dirtiest player in the game is why Ric Flair, that's one of the many sobriquets or sobriquets of Ric Flair, the Nature Boys, because if you're cheating all the time, you become the dirtiest player in the game. You don't want to do that. Now, a lot of people don't mind doing that, and that's kind of the quandary that a lot of people have with the hallmarks of humanity is good and evil. Why is it that this person who is constantly screwing over people and doing all the wrong things further in life than me? Well, the reality of it is that if you want to do the right things, you want to live life on a moral compass and on the straight and narrow, it is a little bit harder for you to succeed because you're doing things the right way. A person who does not mind screwing over and betraying their own family, friends, lying to whomever, family and friends, will always move faster, but they're on a very short time limit because of what they're doing to gain their victories, just like somebody in wrestling taking steroids. It's only a matter of time. Your life's going to be short-lived. You're not going to live as long as a person who's worked naturally to gain their muscle and worked hard and put in the hours at the gym because you took a shortcut. And people who ascend in life faster than you or have things that you wish you had, who gained ill-gotten gain, they're probably not going to have it for very long. If they cheated and lied, it's only a matter of time before they lie to the wrong person and cheat the wrong person and scam the wrong person and use their heel tactics on the wrong person before somebody takes them down. And I don't mean kill them, but karma. Karma's going to give them a dose. So just don't feel bad about being the baby face in life and doing the right things. And just know here and there, you may have to do some heel things to get by, which isn't wrong. It only makes you human. Just don't become a complete heel. Don't. Try to stay babyface. There's nothing wrong with trying to be a complete babyface. It worked for Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in life. John Cena was a heel before, but once he turned babyface, he was never healed again. But he even had to do some nefarious things to win matches. Even Hulk Hogan. It's a lot of things that Hulk Hogan did that were kind of heelish. People look at in hindsight. Like, best example is the Royal Rumble 92, what he did to get Sid eliminated. It's like, that was kind of a heelish thing to do, Hogan. But overall, Hulk Hogan was a career babyface. He was babyface, I think, longer than he was a heel in WCW. He was a heel in WCW 96 to, 99? He was a babyface in WWE from 88 to 93. So, yeah, that's not a long time, but 5 years. And then he was a little bit of a heel before that, but so he has more accumulative years, it seems, as a heel. No, he actually was a babyface longer. Point is, just keep your heel tactics at a minimum if you can. Sorry to belabor the point, but that's what this is all about in wrestling life and how we wrestle with it and how it pertains to life. Thanks for watching this entire spiel. I think we'll be back with another episode next Thursday. I say I think because I'm about to close up the season very soon. And then I'll probably go to one of my other YouTube channels and upload on there. So I'm not sure yet. Actually, the past several videos have been kind of freestyled as far as the delivery, the topic. It's probably just like an episode of Raw. Just, I ripped up so many ideas and just, we're going to wing it. That's what you often hear about WWE Raw episodes these days, especially when Vince in charge. So we don't know yet, but as of right now, let's just say yes. I'll be back next Thursday with another episode in Wrestling Life. And thanks for watching this episode. Heel Tactics. Take care of yourselves, people. Peace.